Cole Sprouse, Dylan Sprouse, Ashley Tisdale, Brenda Song, Phil Lewis, Kim Rhodes. Am I having a stroke? Perhaps the effort of reviewing trans episodes has finally melted my brain. No, I'm merely doing an opening bit by listing the actors involved in 2005's hit Disney Channel series, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. A show about a pair of twin brothers and the hijinks they get up to in the fancy swanky hotel they live in thanks to their mum being a performer there. It was also one of the few Disney Channel series to be popular enough that it received not only a sequel series in Sweet Life on Deck, but also a movie, the Sweet Life movie, because of, branding reasons. Why do you think I keep calling these the trans something episode, even when sometimes the episode is more like gender swapping than explicitly trans? Because I have a brand to maintain, god damn it, and I will keep that brand alive as long as possible. Anyway, today we are talking about one explicit episode amidst this long-running show. A fan-recommended episode, no less, because I'm constantly scouring the comments for people to do the discovery work for me. And that is Season 1's Episode 2, that's quite early in the show, Fairest of Them All. An episode that really reinforces this idea that writers were going out of their way to have kids in kids shows gender swap for reasons. Seriously, all you people getting mad at the trans agenda for confusing kids these days, did you just not watch TV 20 years back? This stuff is omnipresent. Regardless, let's see if this Sweet Life nostalgia trip is also a sweet life for trans people who watched it too. That one was a stretch.
Here I am in your life, here you are in mine. Yes, we have a sweet life.
Okay, first things first. Holy shit, look how young they are. I only really know about Cole Sprouse because of Riverdale. So it is downright strange to see him as this tiny kid.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in.
None of them have even noticed me.
And seeing that made me then look up both of their careers to see where they went, and that made me find out that Dylan Sprouse is an avid heathen and has been since he was 15 years old, so avid that he opened a meadery in Brooklyn, a place that sells mead like those Norse people drank, and he's also the co-founder of Thor's Skier, which is an Icelandic yogurt drink thing.
And he said, well, if you want to live more, you eat this. And I did. And now look, I'm in a business with him. That's how the world works, baby.
Another co-founder of that brand is Terry Crews, because the world is a weird and fun place sometimes. We forget that amidst all the terrible stuff, really. Sometimes it just is a silly old series of relations and connections that make you go, huh. Anyway, back in the episode from almost 20 years ago, the premise of this video is set up by the twins being bored of being in the hotel. Remember, this is the second episode of the series, so they haven't had time to really settle into the place yet. Only for them to discover that a bunch of girls have just walked into the hotel, and wowooga, that makes them a whole lot happier, because the real brainwashing in kid media is cis straight stuff that convinces kids who haven't even hit puberty yet of how they should act around those that they perceive to be of the other gender.
Oh, Zach! Wow, it's like Christmas!
Oh, and these girls are here because of a beauty pageant. That horrifying American tradition full of sexualizing young women and overly aggressive, monstrous parents who abuse those girls for victory. That is the American way, after all. And let me just say that Phil Lewis as Mr. Mosby is a goddamn treasure.
Speak to the manager right away.
Marion Mosby at your service.
Well, Marianne.
He always was the most impressive actor in this series, and the range of expression and vocalization he uses to sell the lines he is given, that's just a consummate professional at work right there. There is a reason that the big memes of the show are all him. It's because he puts his whole actusy into what he is doing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why don't we just relax? We'll turn on the radio. Would you like am or film?
And while the boys are super psyched about the girls being here, their mother and Ashley Tisdale's character, who I want to say is called Maddie, well, they're less than pleased. Though both Maddie and Carrie seem to be expressing that more as jealousy for not winning beauty pageants than a real recognition of the flawed way in which those pageants encourage both parents and children to embrace horrifying representations of femininity for success.
I hate beauty pageants. I know. I never won one either.
I also think that this guy we get introduced to is supposed to be gay. I mean, I wonder if they will mention that, or if it will just be hinted towards, but I think that's what I'm meant to think there.
You look incredible.
But the two boys are engaging in this whole experience in different ways, with Zach running around hitting on everyone he possibly can, while Cody is being more reserved and sensitive, until he runs into someone and suddenly his eyes are opened. I'm also not sure if this joke here is racist or not.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Vietnamese.
I'm going to remember that this is a series from 2005 that was for children, and lean on the side of, yeah, it's probably just that good old generic racism that was everywhere and not really considered a problem until you rewatch it now and it clicks what exactly they were making fun of. In this case, the fact that Cody mumbled nonsense words, and that was taken as Vietnamese by this girl. When Cody goes and attempts to get the girl's name, Mosby jumps in and steals the scene again by explaining that these girls are here as guests and are not to be talked to or interacted with by these two idiots.
They did not come here to be harassed by Tweedledum and Tweedledummer.
But I have to talk to what's-her-name.
No.
Our next scene features the kids ignoring Mosby, because that's just what they did and will continue to do for pretty much every episode of this show, and attempting to meet this mystery girl, leading to the cutest bit I have ever seen.
Oh, Mosby alert! Oh no, he's gonna see us fraternizing! What are you, 5?
God damn, these kids are just adorable. Maybe not the best actors in the world, but still, you work with what you get when it comes to child actors. And in a moment of panic, when Mosby bursts into the dressing room, Cody jumps into a makeup chair, throws on a wig, and drapes a dress over themselves to attempt to hide. And I think I might be able to figure out where the gender swap stuff's gonna come in. Yet this scene only gives us the how of the gender swap right now. It doesn't give us the why of the gender swap. But then the organizer of the event comes out and rushes all the girls onto the stage area, including Cody, who she forcibly attempts to remove a hair from his lip from, while he wriggles and screams that no, it's his only one.
Pull that right out.
No! Oh, come on, that's my only one!
Poor guy. Being forced to be a girl and do all the girl things when you don't want to sure does suck. And so he is thrown out as number 11, Tyresha Jones, in the dress and the makeup that makes him look like some 1950s housewife shit. He's even got the headband, the pearl necklace, everything. London Tipton is slightly questioning of it for a second, before immediately just accepting what she is seeing, and Cody does a pretty appalling job at walking the stage because he's never practiced this shit before in his life. That's not no biological shit, it's just what would happen if you forced anyone to participate in a beauty contest without preparation. Honestly, the whole stage thing is just weird. Though not weird for the reason that the audience is laughing, which I think is probably because of the here is a boy dressed as a girl thing. It's weird because of the same reason that people found watching cuties weird. I don't want to see a young child sticking their backside out and blowing a kiss to an audience of older people. That feels wrong, and like it shouldn't be clapped for.
Tyresha enjoys marine biology double dutch.
And Zach sees his brother performing on the stage, and is at first confused before then seeing how much money you can win in this contest. $2,000. $2,000? Never mind, I take it all back. Somebody give me a small abusable child and let me see if I can't make some money off of it. Like I'm a family YouTube channel. Yeah, how's that for a deep cut? Also, there's a guy filming in the crowd, and I really hope that he works for the company and is like broadcasting this on a network, and that this isn't filming for his private collection. I really hope that's true. Backstage, Cody finds out very fast that the world of child beauty pageants can have some real mean bitches in it. Cruel people whose whole deal is trying to tear others down because, I mean, it's literally almost an industry built on that premise. To which Cody defends the mystery girl hard because he's got a crush on her, even if she doesn't know that it's him because he's pretending to be Tyresha right now.
It's just long enough to hide your scrawny little chicken legs. Hey, back off, for all.
Cody almost lets slip as well that he is in drag when the mystery girl wonders who could have sent these flowers to her, instead choosing to reveal that he is Cody's sister as a way of covering up that mistake. That's a classic excuse of the gender swap genre, but you know what, hey, I'm not complaining. Maybe it helped a few eggs get cracked back in the day to see gender swaps like this. And Zach appears backstage too to convince Cody to keep doing this beauty contest, against Cody's protestations that he doesn't like the heels and the pantyhose, telling him/her this line.
Who cares about your female problems? Think about the money. Think about the bikes. You can't drop out of this pageant.
And while that doesn't work to get Cody on board with the plan, the mystery girl grabbing Cody's hand and telling them that this pageant is a shark tank and that they need them is far more successful at getting Cody to want to stay as a girl for now.
I need you to help me get through this. I'm in.
I wonder if this whole scene looks gay to an outside viewer. Like, if you didn't know that Tyresha was a Cody in a dress, and you just thought it was two girls, is that like gay adjacent enough that this would also be considered an awakening for queer people too? Damn, who doesn't Genderswap episodes work for when you think about it? And they let us get our nostalgia while going just under the radar enough that like family organisations and religious groups don't get mad and have it taken off the air. It's the subtle, sneaky approach to queer representation that was, well, kind of almost all we got back in kids shows in those days. Back on episode and back on track, Tyresha and Rebecca, the name of the mystery girl, are having a little chat on the phone, and it's kind of flirty, which I think really does feed that whole thing we literally just talked about, the whole gay thing.
Sorry to keep you waiting, but I have to work overtime to look as good as you do. You're so sweet.
And Tyresha gets invited to a slumber party, which Zach is very opposed to because he is sure that this will undeniably get Cody found out as being a dude in drag. Their mum then comes back home to the suite, because that's why it's called the Sweet Life. They live in a fancy suite. It's so sweet sounds like sweet. It's pretty complicated humour, but when you get it, trust me, you will be kicking yourself with laughter. And they have to negotiate their way around their mum to get Cody to the slumber party, all while their mum is noticing the makeup that Cody has on.
You wearing lipstick?
That's what the fight was about. I put lipstick on him while he was taking a nap.
And that's not your shade.
The slumber party then happens, and Tyresha almost gets found out because everyone is talking about what they want to be when they are older. And she says she wants to be a hockey player. And everyone turns around to look aghast until they say, or maybe a princess.
Oh, I'm gonna be a hockey player. or a princess.
Come on, girls. Women hockey players do exist. It's not that much weirder than Rebecca's dream of opening a free animal hospital for underprivileged pets. Feminism lives and dies with the next generation of women, okay? And at this point, it becomes clear that Cody is kind of using the being undercover as a girl to do the child version of getting close to the one they're interested in, which translates to constantly asking for hugs.
It's so great that we can do this together. Hug!
It's still sort of weird as a concept even when children are doing it. Like, you are pretending to be somebody else, using a false identity to connect with the person you're interested in. That's not okay for obvious reasons that don't tie to a trans identity, and will either horrifically backfire or cause serious long-term issues like catfishing. And London and Maddie enter the party to bring some food and to provide another whoopsie-doopsie to Cody's plan that requires him to hide under a sleeping bag and pretend he is applying night cream, because these two people know who he is and might recognise/out him. Maddie also attempts to tell the girls that being smart is just as valuable as being pretty, and gets blown off for doing it.
I mean, there's education and reading, museums, becoming a well-rounded person.
Do you know Orlando Bloom?
Gender politics in this period was always a bit whiffy around how girls got portrayed. Like, Maddie's position here as the not attractive nor rich girl is kinda used to imply some sort of jealousy in her version of feminism. It's not great. I also think that one of the other girls in the pageantry, the bitchy girl from earlier, is supposed to be trailer trash. Or like her mum is. Because they live in a movable house, and her mum keeps nicking stuff from the hotel.
Brianna, honey, look. The maid left the card out in the hall. We are set for the next 3 months.
It is odd that the joke here is almost played on the poor person for what at its surface seems just like an over-the-top mum, but in reality is just the outside view of horrifying poverty. That's more of an overall issue that media has had for a while with how it presents poor people as strange or gross or funny, because they act a certain stereotyped way, and I just think it's strange how normalised that really became. I mean, we have the literal conned term trailer trash. And during the pageant song, which Zach and Cody's mum is performing with the gay guy, despite their hatred for one another, a song that really emphasises that creepy focus on the physical appearance of children.
Perfect, fair, and sweet.
In a package so petite.
The mum notices Cody and forces them to have to hide behind the other girls because, well, this is hardly the time and place for your parent to discover that you are dressing up as a girl so that you can win $2,000 for bikes, and also so you can get closer to a girl you have a crush on. There really is no good time or place for a parent to discover that about their kid, to be fair though, but this is definitely not one of them. And Brianna, the bitchy girl, whiffs her talent performance, leaving the competition between just Rebecca and Cody as Tyresha. And the two tell each other how the other deserves to win, with Rebecca even dropping this crushing line.
You're so sweet. If you were a boy, I'd kiss you.
I know quite a few lesbians who have heard that one in their time in high school, and from what I've been told, it's never fun to hear. But Cody has an advantage over all of my sapphic friends here, because he is actually a guy. And this girl outfit is just a costume that he can take off at any point. Though doing so would require an awful lot of explanations to Rebecca that might ruin her positive attitude towards him. And Tyresha/Cody commits to throwing the competition when in conversation with Zach, because Rebecca needs the money to go towards vet school for her dream of opening a free vet place for animal care, which Zach is not happy with because he wants those bikes. And he needs Cody to win him. The argument escalating to violence quite quickly.
Try and stop me, pal. Well, then take off the dress because I can't hit a woman.
Like, really fast there, guys. Maybe calm the fuck down. So Zach does the only thing he can do, which is to lock Cody in a closet and go out onto the stage in a different girl outfit and begin skating to rock music, which all the crowd are admittedly super cool with seeing, and it seems like this plan just might work out for Zach until Well, until Rebecca releases Cody from the cupboard and he rushes on stage to tackle his brother to the ground.
Where's that?
As they continue their fight in front of everyone, while their mother walks in to see what must be quite the shocking revelation about, what your boys have been up to for the past few days.
I don't care.
Cody pulls off Zach's wig, and the whole crowd gasps in horror, with a couple of screams as well. Which, really, guys? Is that this big of a deal? It's a child's beauty pageant, who cares? And Mosby is obviously pretty angry because the darn boys are fucking with him in his hotel again, as they will continue to do for the rest of all time.
Your boys are attempting to destroy my hotel, but with a new twist. One of them's wearing a dress.
Also, the organizer says the funniest line I have ever heard as a replacement for swearing.
What in the ding-dong dickens is going on? Ding-dong dickens! Ding-dong dickens!
As the boys are disqualified for being boys and this being a girls' pageantry. Rebecca is also mad that she was being tricked by Tyresha, which is a perfectly fair reaction to this series of events from her perspective, and the mum asks Zach why he is wearing a skirt, leading to this reaction.
Zach, why are you wearing a skirt?
I did it so we could win money for bikes.
Oh, thank goodness.
Honestly? Not cool, Kim Rhodes. Relief at finding out your kid is not trans is not the ideal reaction, because that implies that there is something bad in if they are trans, and you should love and support your child regardless of the fact of their gender. Being trans isn't a death sentence, it's not something to be ashamed of or to have to hide out of fear of the impact it could have on your parents, and this isn't a very cool message for the show to take here. It's a very 2005 message, but that doesn't make it okay. And we skip forward to Cody in the lobby of the hotel, and Rebecca comes back in to see Cody, and they say their goodbyes, and she gives him a little kiss, because that's what happens at the end of a romance episode. The people who we are watching do romance stuff get a romance payoff. If you've seen stories before, you've seen that happen. And that's the episode.
I understand what it's like to have to look at something utterly repulsive.
So, what's the deal here? What's the big takeaway, my big conclusion that you're going to go and repeat to your friends, or bitch at me about in the comments? Well, I think it's twofold. The first is about the nature of gender swaps and their relation to trans nostalgia, and the second is in how these kind of episodes express gender binary concepts. So with the trans nostalgia, a big part of that comes from the fact that many of these gender swap episodes, like this one, occur in kids' media, when gender swapping is often allowed because there is no real politics mixed up in it. Like, it's not a trans person, it's not a queer person, it just might look like that when we remove it from all context and cut it down to a few scenes. And because those things exist quite frequently in kids' media, it means that for a lot of trans people, their first exposure to the very notion of swapping genders, of being able to consider such a thing in regards to themselves, if only as a what-if experiment or daydreaming moment, comes from seeing shows like Sweet Life do stuff like this.
No, you deserve to win. You're beautiful and unselfish, and I've never seen anyone juggle while baking a cake.
Seeing Cody in a dress, acting like a girl, and being able to pass amongst other girls and get invited to their events is the kind of thing that really would click for trans kids when they see that. Unfortunately, it doesn't automatically mean that it's going to go anywhere. Getting those kinds of ideas and having those thoughts/feelings does not translate to feeling comfortable revealing them, does not translate to actually acting on them, and that's why these shows can only be a kind of valuable for trans people situation. While there is an awakening in those narratives, the way that they end, normally with some kind of authority figure or adult expressing concern over it, or hope that it doesn't happen again.
Oh, thank goodness.
Or making sure that it's not anything more than just wearing a dress to win a competition like here, gives the impression that you shouldn't pursue those awakenings. What trans kids need is more clearly defined shows that give them an encouraging and supportive message about their identity and their ability to explore it free from all the same problems that I faced when I was younger. And I am damn sure that many other trans people also faced too. Genderswap episodes are such a big deal for us because we had nothing else. But that doesn't make them good or great. It doesn't mean that they're the perfect way to get trans representation, because they're not any of those things. It's best that we develop something more concrete and real, so that future generations of the trans community have better nostalgic moments to look back on. And to my second point, about the relation between Genderswap episodes and binary concepts, oftentimes what we see in these episodes is stereotyping, used quite heavily, that feminine and masculine identities, while adopted for the duration of the pretense, are quite strictly defined and enforced by other people during the story. And while some gender swap stories, like Fairly Odd Parents, go down the route of trying to expose the flaws in those binary conceptions,
What did you do? I didn't wish for this! Oh yeah! Well, you know what I think?
Who cares what you think? You're a girl.
and some gender swap stories go down the route of trying to show us what life is like for those of the other gender to encourage understanding, a la Boy Meets World,
He touched me. Where? On my knee. It's my knee. What makes him think that it's his knee?
The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody just kinda incorporates that binary dominant difference between the guys and the girls, that beauty-centric idea of femininity, and doesn't really criticize or build any kind of point out of it, except for a few jokes at the expense of some of the girls and at Maddie. These are all kids' shows at the end of the day. This isn't a case of kid shows having to be dumbed down to the point they don't make any sort of commentary or have themes. It's just that Sweet Life committed to not really doing that, and committed quite early to not making a point. I think it might have something to do with the motivations behind the gender swap, because Cody never really intends to gender swap, and then only really does it to stay close to a girl / win money for bikes. It isn't about discovering anything or learning anything. It's just a narrative vehicle for cramming comedy into. I think that The Sweet Life is certainly an episode that a few trans people could take something away from. That could have had an impact on a few people because it features a guy pretending to be a girl, and all the associated notions that go along with that. But it doesn't really do anything special with the format. It doesn't really provide us much to work with beyond just gender swap for gender swap's sake. Anyway, that's my opinion on the trans episode of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. If you liked it, or agreed with it, or just enjoyed listening / reminiscing, then please consider giving it a like, share, subscribe, or comment. Alternatively, if you really like it, you can harass me into making a Riverdale video at some point, because I've watched so damn much of that show, and it might be my favourite guilty pleasure. It certainly isn't a good series, but it might be the most watchable show of all time.
What was it like, Suicide Squad? When you shot Jason, you didn't do stuff to the body, did you?
It's called necrophilia, Reggie. Can you spell it?
Other than that, you can go to my Patreon or sign up as a member here on YouTube to help me financially, which is very useful because I need money to be able to do any of this that I am currently doing, and YouTube is a little random when it comes to compensating its creators. The names of all those in the $5 and up category should be scrolling past the screen right now, and I really do appreciate all the people on there for allowing me to make videos in the capacity that I currently am. Hopefully, we can keep this channel going long enough that I cover every single gender swap, trans, or trans-adjacent movie / TV episode that ever got made, after which I can finally die content that my niche is done. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you have a great day.